Hello, I am Jose,
And I'm Angelica.
and we are a couple that has a heart for young people.
We are also very happy and excited because this is our very first episode of this brand new podcast. So grab your favorite drink and join us because this is Mi Casa es Su Casa.
So during our life, Angelica and I, we have had the opportunity to be mentors and also have individuals that have poured into our lives
And who have mentored us.
and who have mentored us as well. So the question that we want to focus on is what is mentorship, and also how does this impact my life? I believe that each one of us needs a mentor. Angelica, would you agree? And if so, what is a mentor and how do they impact our lives?
Well, I obviously agree. And I say this because mentors have a very huge impact in our lives if we look for them and allow them to work in our lives as young people. And I say this because when we're young, I think it's very easy for us to think that it's time for us to take the bull by the horns and live our best life, and there's nothing that can go wrong for us because we're living it up, you know what I mean? But I definitely believe that when we walk alone without wisdom, we can end up getting hurt, make mistakes, stumble, all whatever other word you want to use. And mentors definitely help us walk life intentionally in a way that we're able to grow and become the best version of ourselves. So I would say a mentor really is almost like a best friend that walks with you. It's someone that has lived life more than you, who can counsel you, someone who really just chooses to impart the most wisdom, the most best parts of themselves in you so that they can see you grow and do well.
So, from what I'm hearing you say, it is necessary that all of us have a mentor.
Yeah, I would say it would be a really good idea for everyone to have one.
I agree 100%. It's possible that those who are listening to us are wondering, okay, so I know that I have to have a mentor because they will help me make better decisions or help me walk through life and reach some of my goals. What are some steps that the person who is listening can follow if they currently do not have a mentor in order to find a mentor?
Yeah, one of the biggest things that I always recommend for any life decision is prayer. Prayer all the time. And I say this because God has the ability to guide us in ways that we may not choose for ourselves if we didn't invite Him to lead us. So I would say prayer definitely is one big thing for me.
100%, 100%. God knows us better than we know ourselves, and He knows people that can lead us into becoming the best version of ourselves as well. So definitely, I agree that starting with God in this process of finding that person is the first and most important decision that we can make. So I also believe that as we begin to look for that individual, as we pray to God and as He's guiding us, it's important to observe, to keep our eyes very open to individuals that maybe we look up to. We see things in them that we would like to have for ourselves.
Yeah.
So keeping our eyes very open, observing who that individual may be, it's another step. So keep your eyes open, observe.
Yeah, I definitely think mentors tend to be people you admire for certain qualities. And I
Yeah.
say, for instance, if you need help with communication and you see there's someone who you really love how they do their public speaking or preaching or presentations, whatever it might be, you may choose that person to help you with whatever you're struggling in for communication.
Absolutely.
Or finances as well as another one.
100%. Yeah, I can think of a little story of something that took place not too long ago. I went out of my way to reach out to an individual that I look up to for not only the way that he handles his finances, he's a very well-off man, but also because of how generous he is. And I also want some type of financial security for the sake of our home and our 9-month-old baby, Camila. And I also want to be more generous with the things that God has given to me, including our finances. So I looked intentionally for him because I want what he is experiencing today. And that's how I went about to choose a mentor for myself. And it's been pretty good so far.
So it seems like you chose or asked this particular person to mentor you because of his ability to handle his finances. But what other qualities do you look for? Because I know you have other mentors. So, what other qualities should anybody look for really when looking to get a mentor for themselves?
I feel like the individual needs to show some type of interest in being a mentor. Because if they don't want to be a mentor, that means that they will not really put in the time to focus on you. And the whole experience would just be a failure. Yeah. Because ultimately it requires time, it requires consistency in getting together. Not necessarily in a meeting, because a mentor is more than just, somebody that is always pouring into you, but it's as you said at the beginning, it's like a friendship, right? So it definitely has to be somebody that is willing to put in the time to walk alongside you.
Yeah. Although, you said that the person should want to be a mentor. I think sometimes, though, people may not even realize that they have the ability to mentor. And it's not until somebody asks them, like, hey, can you mentor me, that they realize, like, oh, wait, what, me? Yeah. So I think sometimes even there are maybe even other qualities that are important to look for. For instance, I would say there's someone who's maybe God-fearing, if that's something you value. Definitely, it is something for me that I looked for in my mentors. Also, I would say
somebody that walks with integrity as well.
Yeah, someone who you can also trust, or that you're willing to open up to. And then I also think someone who's humble.
Yes.
Because as much as you may admire someone, there's nothing worse than someone who's like arrogant or proud or just is very full of themselves, because then, yeah, even that is not very constructive.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, to be honest with you, I wouldn't go for that person, right, even if I do admire something that they have, because their relationship would just be hindered by their pride, right? But humility is definitely one that this relationship requires. Humility from their side as they share their wisdom, and also humility from my side as a mentee, in order to open my heart, be willing to speak, about the things that I'm going through, maybe the wrong decisions that I'm currently making, and be open and humble to receive the instruction and walk in the wisdom that is being offered to me.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
So now that we know all of this, another question that comes to mind is, how can I ask that person to be my mentor? Now, do I ask the person, or should I wait for that individual to come to me? What do you think?
Well, honestly, I've had both experiences.
Okay.
So I think generally, if someone really wants to mentor you, I think they will, and they will go out of their way to do that. At least that's what happened in my experience. But one of my mentors that I have, after observing her and even praying about it, I was very anxious to ask her actually at the beginning. But there was something just in my heart that was like, ask her. And I was like, okay.
It can be a very awkward thing to do, right?
Yeah. And it's because I didn't know her that well that I almost felt like, oh, this is so silly. Like, she's for sure gonna be like, me mentor you? Like, I don't even know you. But
Right.
It's not that she didn't know me. It's just that we didn't know each other that well, that I felt maybe unworthy to be mentored by her.
Right.
I don't know. But anyways, I just did it. I just asked, and I said, hey, I don't know if you've like ever mentored or like have gotten mentorship, but I'm wondering if you'd be willing to mentor me.
Did you ask this person to mentor you in a specific area, or just to walk alongside you in every area?
Actually, what's interesting is that when I asked her to mentor me, she asked me and presented the two options and said, what are you expecting? What type of mentorship would you like? Would you like 8 weeks of just routine meetings where we can meet once a week and just talk about particular areas that you're needing help in? Or do you want just a lifetime journey basically
What'd you say?
where we walk together? And I was like, be your friend forever? Yes, please. Because she's so cool. So anyways,
So you thought
that's
that she
the
was very cool, even though you didn't really know her at
Oh,
first.
no, it's not just that I thought she was cool. It was just her leadership. She's a fantastic leader in our church.
So
So,
how are you with her now? Before you didn't really know her, and you said, "Can you be my mentor?" And she
yeah,
said,
yeah,
"Yes, I
yeah.
do want to be your mentor."
Yeah.
And from what you said that you wanted her to walk with you throughout your life. How has that relationship evolved, and how is it right now?
Oh my gosh. Okay, so basically since the day that I asked her to be my mentor, it's been almost 2 years or a
Wow.
little more than 2 years now.
Yeah.
And I kid you not, I know that she would drop everything to come and make sure that I'm okay if I ever needed her here.
So
Like,
it almost seems like it's a mother-daughter relationship, almost to that
it's
point.
like a sister relationship. Like, I don't even know. It's a very profound relationship to the point where when I'm struggling, I know I can reach out to her and tell her what's going on. And I know that she will be there for me. I know that she prays for me. She does pray with me, and vice versa. Like, this is where the humility thing comes in, because there are times where she even expresses to me, hey, I'm really struggling and I'm not doing okay. And she'll cry. And she's unafraid to cry with me. And I'm unafraid to cry with her. And actually, recently, when I was experiencing a little bit of postpartum depression, I just reached out and I let her know, like, hey, I'm actually really struggling right now. And she was in the middle of meetings. And, like, her job is she's a leader. It's very intense. She's very busy all the time. So the fact that she took the time to step out of her meetings to call me to ask like what was going on, and it just reminded me again like how much she values our relationship. And she's told me before, she's like, Angelica, like, you mean everything to me. Like,
Wow.
I will be there no matter what for you. So
What I find amazing is that this relationship that you have with this mentor now started by you, tightening the belt of your pants and saying, I'm going to go out of my way and I'm going to
yeah.
ask.
Yeah, and sometimes I wonder, like, imagine if I hadn't asked. I would have missed out on such a
Right,
valuable relationship
right.
that literally, I kid you not, has changed my life. It has changed my life.
So the conclusion that I'm coming to is that for those of you that are listening, now that you understand that we all need a mentor and they can bring so much positive things into my life,
Yeah.
the first step that I have to take
It's
before,
just ask.
after praying and
Yeah.
doing these things,
Yeah.
observing, is go ahead and ask.
Just ask,
It can be
literally. You don't
awkward.
lose
It
anything.
can be maybe intimidating as well.
Yeah.
Go ahead and ask.
Yeah, you don't lose anything, honestly.
Right.
Yeah.
And if they say no,
Okay, well, my life was the same.
right, nothing changes. So you
Right.
don't lose anything by asking, right?
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
One thing that came up for me when you were talking to me was just that word value that
Yeah.
your mentors add. And I know you have particular mentors in your life that you really care about. What are some things that they added to you, or how have you grown? Because I know I just said that like my life has changed completely, and I would love to share on that, but I want to hear yours first. Like, how has your life changed or improved, and in what ways because of your mentors?
So I'm here differentiating between friends and mentors because I have been intentional about choosing people in my close circle of influence that add value to my life.
Okay, yeah.
So those are my friends, and they have challenged me and they have helped me grow in many areas. When it comes specifically to the mentors, the individuals that have chosen me or I have chosen them to pour into a specific area, I can think particularly about a gentleman who was my senior pastor when I first started ministry. Actually, he's the one that came after because I had one previously, but specifically the second one because I spent more time with him. He really poured into my life in what it means to be a father, what it means to be a husband, what it means to be a pastor. And one area that I wanted to grow, that I'm very passionate about, but I knew that I had some growth to do in, was preaching. I
Oh
love
yeah.
preaching. I love sharing the word of God.
That's
I love
true.
calling people to the Lord. Um, and I remember that when I had one of my first sermons, he would tell
Yeah.
me, introduction, A plus.
Yeah.
Body of the sermon, A plus.
Yeah.
Conclusion, D.
Yeah.
A failing
I
grade.
remember.
And that was because I would put a lot of effort into the body, and I would really lead people into
Yeah.
a journey,
You'd preach your
and they
heart
would be
out.
ready
Yeah.
to like respond to my sermon. And then at the end, I would be like, well, that was
Thanks.
my sermon. Thank you so much for being
Thanks for
here.
coming.
And then I wouldn't lead the individuals to do anything
Yeah,
about what I
yeah.
just preached,
Thanks
right?
for coming to my TED Talk.
So this individual, this mentor told me, you have to spend more time working in the conclusion of your
Yeah.
sermons, so that when you're wrapping it up, you are not dropping the ball, but rather calling people to respond to this message
Yeah.
in a way that really moves them to do it.
Yeah.
So he really helped me in my preaching. I know that there is still so much growth that I can experience in the way that I present the word of God, but I can recall, the value that he brought to my life,
Yeah.
specifically in this area of preaching as a pastor. And it's been of great value up to this point. This has been, it's about 7 years that he gave me that counsel, and he walked with me as
Yeah.
I continue preparing sermons. And yeah, it's been 7 years, and I am reaping a lot of the
Of the benefits.
benefits
Yeah.
that he shared with me.
Yeah, in fact, I remember there were times where he'd pull me aside and he'd be like, "Did you give Jose your rating?" I'm like, "Not yet, not yet." But even then, like now when you ask me how your sermons were,
Yeah.
like his comments often come up about like rating the intro and all that. So
Yeah.
definitely it has made a big impact for sure.
For sure.
For me, I would say, well, it's funny because that pastor's wife, so your mentor's wife, also was my first mentor, and she is fantastic. And she chose to mentor me and intentionally pour into me as a teacher. So when I started teaching and I moved to Ontario, her friendship was so meaningful because aside from just being a friend in a new place where I didn't know anybody, she also became someone I would go to for help in my first year of teaching, which was chaotic. It was literally a classroom of 22, preschool, like junior, senior kindergarten.
And more than 50% of the class were
Yeah,
boys.
there were 18 boys.
Mercy.
Oh my gosh. And they're all like 3 to 5-year-olds.
Yeah.
And then only 4 girls. So it was just like wild times. But anyways, she was constantly there just, praying for me, giving me advice, resources, all that stuff. But on top of that, she also was the pastor's wife. So I loved that and appreciated that because it was also another aspect of my life that we could relate in, since I was also a pastor's wife. And so for that mentorship relationship, she continues to walk with me, and that's been a relationship that's been a long-term one as well. So I found that I became a better teacher. I became just more confident in my role as an educator, but also just felt very loved and was able to find home in a new province or a new region after moving because of her friendship
She really
with
helped you
me.
transition
Yeah.
into your role as a teacher and
As a pastor's wife, yeah.
wife, and coming to a new province because you
Yeah.
came from Alberta to Ontario.
Yeah. And then my second mentor, who's actually the one that I asked to mentor me, she has impacted my life so much because I'm no longer teaching, and I kind of switched roles now, and I'm doing freelancing, and I started as a writer and journalist. For one of our news entities in the church, and I began just as a writer, and for me it was just kind of a thing, just to kind of get by, but it wasn't something I ever thought or saw myself doing long term. But in communicating with my mentor, she's seen in me this potential where she's trusted me with projects that have caused me to expand my range of skills, like to a whole new level. Like the fact that I understand coding, okay?
Yeah.
Project management, social media marketing, email marketing, doing ad campaigns, like all these different things. And not just that, but just being able to grow in my confidence as a leader, as a team leader, being able to communicate more effectively. There's been so many things like career wise that she's done for me, but I find that also spiritually has been what has really just been that much more impactful for me. And I say this because she, along with another friend that we have, the three of us, we we call it our sistering group because it literally feels like we are sisters, and we walk together, we pray together, and I kid you not, in the 2 years that the three of us have been part of this like intentional group, just a friendship and a sisterhood basically, so many things have happened. Like people have passed away, illnesses, my pregnancy, postpartum depression, Camila's birth, like moves, and so many things. And we're constantly praying for each other. We're praying and we're encouraging each other. We're uplifting each other. We're providing each other with words of encouragement. Like it's been such a beautiful connection with these two other women that has literally made the past 2 years of my life so much more meaningful. And in fact, when I think about what the future holds, and of course, I don't know where God will have me in a few years down the road, but if He was ever to lead me to go back to teaching or to switch to a different career, I think it would truly break my heart because I would no longer be working with these two women that have been so amazing for me in the season of life that I'm in right now.
So what I'm hearing you say is that when we're looking for a mentor, there is a lot of value in choosing somebody whose faith can also influence the mentor-mentee relationship. So our faith in some way or another has to intersect because there is value, as you said. You said that your life has been more meaningful
Yeah.
from the type of conversations, the moments of pouring each other's hearts to one another,
Yeah.
praying with one another. I assume that a lot of this relationship is grounded in the Word of God, always pointing back to God's promises and what He wants for us. So, yes, we can definitely have individuals that maybe do not share our own faith, but there is an extra seasoning in the relationship that
Yeah.
comes when the individual also follows the same God that you and I follow.
Yeah, and I think really, at least for me, it comes down to the fact that while I can have mentors and relationships that do feed certain areas, and maybe I may only need help in, I don't know, public speaking or finances or my fitness goals or whatever, I find personally for me, I'm a lot more fulfilled when I am able to make connections as myself and I'm able to express everything that's important to me. And for me, one of the biggest things that I value is my faith.
Yeah.
And so when I can share that with the other person I'm participating in a mentor relationship or just friends in general, I find that my relationships, at least to me, feel a lot more meaningful and I feel a lot more like myself, so I can express more as well and encourage them as well and share my faith that way
And it's
too.
good to know that they also understand where you're coming from because they're in
Right.
the same journey as you.
Right. But I also want to say, like, I don't think, like, for anybody looking for a mentor, they don't necessarily need to feel the pressure of, oh my gosh, if I need a mentor, they need to be my best friend forever. Like,
Right.
it's not really that. And I say this because I've mentioned this to you before. A podcast I was listening to a while ago mentioned that we have friends for a reason, friends for a season, and friends for a lifetime.
Yeah.
And I would like to say we have mentors for a reason, for a season, and a lifetime too. So whether the season be university or a new job,
Choosing a
or
partner.
choosing a partner, or if the reason is
choosing a partner.
choosing a partner.
This is something we're going to talk about in upcoming episodes.
Maybe fitness goals, finances, buying a house, whatever. Or if it's a lifetime, I really do think that, considering all the things that you value, especially your faith, can be transformational. And okay, side note, for those of you who use AI, like ChatGPT and stuff, ChatGPT loves to use the word transformational. So anytime I say it, I'm like, ChatGPT, like I sound like I'm using AI to talk right now. But anyways, it can really transform the way you connect with your mentor and your friend.
For sure. So as we wrap up the conversation, Angelica, tell us in 30 seconds, why should we look for a mentor literally today, right now?
I guess I'm not going to tell you why. I'm going to ask you a question. Do you want to be the best version of yourself? Yes? Then you know what you got to do. That's it.
Yes, 100%, 100%.
It's literally the wisest thing you could do.
Yes, I think of a coach. I feel like mentors also work as coaches. I love to play sports. I've been involved in sports my entire life.
What sports
Basketball.
don't you play? Cricket?
Cricket. I haven't tried cricket, but I want to. I got a couple of Indian friends, and I haven't gotten invited to play cricket yet. But I gotta find a group of people that play cricket because I need to try. I love sports.
We'll
A cricket league. Mercy. I don't know about the cricket league, but yes, I love sports. And as I have been involved in sports my entire life, coaches always do their best to help you see your blind spots and help you grow in areas that you may not even realize that you need to grow on.
They challenge you.
So they challenge you to grow. And that is the reason why I believe we all need mentors. So thank you so much. And I need to give a shout out to my father, Daniel Sanchez. He is also a great mentor in my life. And he told me, make sure that in your young years and throughout your life, you always find individuals that are older than you to pour into your life so that you can learn from their experience. So thank you so much, Dad.
And I think just to wrap it up, I think if you just take the time to talk to people, even that can serve as moments of mentorship without making them your mentors, if that makes sense. Also, if you have favorite speakers or podcasters, many of these people write books. And
you may not have them as mentors directly.
right, but through reading their book, it's
Right.
like you're getting personal mentorship.
100%.
And I say this because there's some phenomenal books out there
Oh, yes.
about a range of topics. One of my most recent favorites was Atomic Habits. That was a very good one.
Yeah.
But anyways, definitely, if we haven't made it clear, get a mentor.
We all need mentors. Yes. So thank you so much, everybody, for tuning into our episode, this first episode of our podcast, Mi Casa es Su Casa. And we look forward to the next one. So maybe all the YouTube verbiage. What do they say?
I'm not really sure, but if you really liked what you heard or saw today, go ahead and subscribe. And we will be back with another video soon. Until next time.
Have a good one, everybody.
Bye.